let's talk about a coronary calcium score and what that is, what it actually means to you. I'm Tiffany. I'm a physician assistant, but I'm also a GLP-1 advocate. So I spend a lot of time helping people get access to GLP-1s. They can't get them through traditional insurance. So if that's something you're struggling with, there's a link over here in my bio. The other thing I do is I spend a lot of time in my internal medicine clinic trying to help people decide what their risk is for future disease. So this is a newish test that we can do on you. And I want to talk about it because it's getting a lot of hype. So let me set the scene for you. Your blood pressure is normal. You feel pretty good. Maybe your cholesterol's okay, or maybe it's borderline, but you still worry about your heart. Maybe somebody in your family's had heart disease. How do you know? How do you know if your heart is healthy? So in the past, maybe we would have run you through a stress test, but stress tests are not always accurate. Now we have a test that we can do that gives us a pretty good idea if you are developing blockages in your arteries, in your coronary arteries, which are the arteries that feed your heart. This is called a coronary artery calcium score test. Okay, it is a non-invasive CAT scan. So non-invasive means we don't have to use an IV, we don't have to use contrast. It takes about 10 minutes to do, so it's not super hard. So when we do this test, we're looking for calcified plaques that are living or building up in the arteries that feed your heart, which are called the coronary arteries. So when this test comes back, it'll give me a score, and the absolute best score to get is a big fat 0. A 0 is great. That means you have no visible plaque and your risk for heart disease in the next 5 to 10 years is incredibly low. So that's what we want. But what do we do if your score's not 0? Well, then we have to talk. So let's say your score is somewhere between 1 and 99. Then we have to talk about what I call risk factor modification. It doesn't necessarily mean you need a heart surgery or a heart cath or anything. It does mean that we need to get serious about modifying your risk factors, mostly getting very serious about your diet, managing your cholesterol, and maybe starting some medications for all of the above. Okay, if your score is anywhere from 100 to 399, then you have moderate plaquing, and your risk of cardiac events goes up quite a bit, right? We're looking at 7 to 10 times the risk of a cardiac event of somebody with a score of 0. So that is something we take way more seriously. We need to look at major risk factor modification and really take a hard look and see if you're having any symptoms, even if those symptoms are not really always just chest pain. Maybe they're shortness of breath with exertion, or something else that maybe is not just standard chest pain. If your score is 400 or more, then that is considered a lot of plaque, and that puts you at seriously high risk for cardiac disease. This is not something we need to ignore, and you basically need to get with your primary care doctor to talk about what interventions are going to be important for you right then. The scary thing is that about 30 to 40% of people who have a heart attack have absolutely no symptoms ahead of time. But this testing could potentially catch early hidden signs of cardiac disease. So this test may not be right for everyone, but it might be something to think about if you are over the age of 40, if you have a strong family history of coronary artery disease. But I will say, if you have previous heart stents already, it's not a good test for you. Or if you're having active heart symptoms, chest pain symptoms, not a good test for you. This is more about prevention and risk, and not actually checking out if you're having an active problem. Just remember, heart disease is still the #1 killer in the United States, so we need to be doing more to try to look at risk prevention. So if you like this video, you want more content like this, follow me for more, and drop a comment down in the comment section if you've had one of these. I would love to know what your score was.